Most important person is Lev Sterling, NPUS Chair, Mr. Caesar Mitchell, Councilman for at-large District 1. Host 1. And this is a brother Brad from Clear Winslow's office. This represents the levels of collaboration that we all hope for and wish for in our communities, and we are so thankful to have our elected officials here as well as many volunteers. What I'd like to do is just do a brief explanation of what we're trying to do here with the NPUT Community Food Project. This project was named after a USDA grant, and we're doing what a lot of nonprofits do, or community groups, which is to retrofit our programming to meet the requirements of a particular funding source that we'd like. What the Community Food Project grant with the USDA goal is to try to help create local food economies across the country, recognizing the increased cost of fuel and the problems with an industrial agriculture system that we experienced with the recent salmonella contamination of tomatoes. We know that food grown locally is best for financial, economic reasons as well as health reasons. And so what we're doing is we're looking at all the land available in NPUT. We're trying to assess the open spaces that are available for urban agriculture, which is a generic term. But then we're going to grade different parcels about what's the best use. A parcel of land about this size, which is about 2 acres, we say it's good for an urban farm. Something smaller than this, about the size of this patch right here, would be good for what's called a market garden or a community garden. But then we also talk about institutional gardens like senior citizen gardens or school gardens. We call edible schoolyards, where the children learn through the curriculum through the outdoor classroom.
So this edible schoolyard, my hope is that the Atlanta Public Schools and the leadership at Brown Middle School, through the principal of Mr. Underdew, will take this on and really look at ways to integrate this focus on urban agriculture all throughout the curriculum. So when young folks are having conversations about math, they're talking about the growing cycles for urban agricultural projects. When they're talking about literature, they're reading all about the germination process of seeds and seeing all this stuff come to life for them, that's captured in textbooks in their backyard right next door to the school is really exciting. And so this edible schoolyard work for us is really going to be phenomenal.
And we also talk about personal gardens. We want people to have gardens in the back of their backyards. We want orchards in the front instead of yards that you have to mow and use water, because we believe that the future of sustainable development is not just green housing or green jobs or saving trees. It's about closing the gap between where people live and where food is grown, so that you shorten the energy use as well as empower people to have food security, as well as to give them a greater sense of use of the ecology, how they're connected to the land, to try to sort of re-civilize ourselves, because we become so disconnected from nature that we don't really understand the repercussions of our decisions. And so when you put a tomato plant in the ground, watch it grow, and then eat from that plant, you are transformed in your consciousness about what it means to be a custodian of the land and custodian of your environment. So the vision is broad, but our particular focus in Southwest Atlanta, because of the socioeconomic conditions of our community, our thrust is economic development. We say there's only two ways to create real wealth in this world: is either dig it out of the ground in terms of gold or minerals, or you can grow it out of the ground. So we're growing original wealth. It's small marginal wealth, but over time it will accumulate with value-added products and markets and organic vegetables, which have a higher price return than typical vegetables. We believe that we will actually provide jobs for people. Where I learned this work was in Houston, Texas, and in that community, they have a farmer's market called the Bayou Market, that if people grow for that market restricts people to bring food. You have to be within a certain mile radius to bring food to that market, meaning you don't have to compete with a farmer who has economies of scale. You're only competing with people that have the same situation you have. In that market, my mentor, his name is Dr. Bob Randall, is a gentleman who runs a group called Urban Harvest in Houston. He said that people are making $15 an hour growing for that market. And so we believe we can create jobs with this work. We believe we can turn around communities. We believe we can connect people. There are people here who didn't know each other that are making relationships today. There are people here who feel good about their community that they didn't feel good about it before. We're not just growing food, we're also cleaning up around us. This is a civic powerhouse, is urban agriculture. It's the only silver bullet that I know of that fixes all the problems that we deal with. Everything else just does one part of it. Now, urban agriculture is not going to change the world. What it will do is put a spark of inspiration into people and return hope to where people have been hopeless, because it will remind us that our future is in our own hands. And so what we are asking today, beyond the support that Brother Caesar Mitchell's office has provided in terms of the dumpsters from the sanitation department, in terms of workers from the community service with the courthouse, in terms of supplies from the tool bank, future support we'd like to see is we'd like people, first of all, to buy a share in this market. Where we're selling this food is that you pay $400 up front and you get a basket of food for all the weeks of the growing season, which is about 13 to 15 baskets of food. Now that's going to beat any price at Kroger's, I guarantee you, and the food's going to be fresher. You'll be able to shake hands with the person that's grown it. That's an experience that we haven't had for many generations. We're asking people to buy shares, and if you can't buy a share, we're asking you to come here on Sundays between 2 and 6. Every Sunday will be market day starting July 13th. And you'll be able to come here and make retail purchases based upon the prices that are going that day. And then if you can't do that, then we just like for you to just come and learn about gardening, to donate, hang out with us. We have cookouts, we have music, and you know, just really rebuild community. And so I'm very glad to have everybody here today. And thank you for putting up. My phone's ringing, that's my cue.